We didn't break any laws. Sure, go to the authorities. This story took place back in the mid-90s. My wife and I were newly married and our daughter was still an infant. My wife worked in healthcare as a home care nurse, traveling from house to house looking after people. However, after our daughter was born, she did not want a job that put her on the road so much and shifts in the evening. So, she applied to be a cleaner at the military base near our community. Two things about our situation that are noteworthy. One is that my wife is a visible minority, and second, as a healthcare worker, she logs everything as a force of habit. The company that hired her was a national company. The base office usually had 5 employees. One had recently quit because her husband was moving with his military job to another part of the country. So, the local boss hired my wife to replace her. The 4 other workers were tight. Louise was the boss, who hired her best friend Donna, Donna's brother Dan, and Louise's niece Tracy. My wife was a true outsider. She immediately saw things were not quite on the level. Even though my wife was paid from 4 p.m. to midnight, she was home by 8 p.m. every night. She was also excluded from cleaning the buildings that housed the engineering and tenancy offices. Occasionally, when she would clean those offices, she saw her colleagues rifling through desks and filing cabinets, photocopying documents and other shady stuff. My wife also saw Louise threaten a soldier with extra duties for not opening doors fast enough. Louise's husband was a senior NCO in the unit, but jobs were hard to find at the time, so my wife was willing to accept a little discomfort to her ethics. However, after a few months, the racial epithets started. It started with a nickname, then morphed into slurs and then rumors about her. They started telling racial jokes without trying to hide it. When my wife complained to the 4 of them that she was uncomfortable, she got called weak, and they threatened her employment. My wife told them that she would go to the head office. So, she called the head office from work. Stuart, from HR, dressed down my wife over women's talk, and she needed to thicken her skin and not be too sensitive. My wife countered that she would go to the authorities. Stuart said, no laws have been broken, so she should go to the authorities. Good luck. Later that shift, she was fired for attitude. So, my wife went to the authorities. Just not the police. She went to the Human Rights Commission and to the military base headquarters. She gave both photocopies of her logs. The human rights investigation determined that there was a work environment that tolerated racist behaviors. That garnered an apology and an acknowledgement from Stuart with a smug comment that they will henceforth include a clause about racial sensitivity in their employee paperwork. He even made a comment to my wife that essentially, this was nothing. However, behind the scenes, the base had been doing their own investigation. Some of the people whose desks had been rifled in the tenancy buildings had reported that they suspected they had been snooped through. The dates of some of their reports matched my wife's logs on the dates she was there. Louise threatening a soldier was followed up, and it was discovered that Louise's husband had chastised the soldier and arranged for him to do 2 weeks extra duties. A violation of an abuse of authority statute. The contract with the base required 40 hours of service per day. The base pulled the security and key logs showing that work was always done by 8 p.m. The base was paying for 40 hours per day and getting 20 hours service. There was a clause in the cleaning contract that stated that federal government human rights regulations needed to be followed. The results of the Commission's investigation determined that they were in violation. Other bases were contacted to see what was going on with this company, and they found out others were having similar issues. As a result, The base broke the contract with cause. It was a 5-year contract broken after the second year. Louise, Donna, Dan and Tracy were suddenly out of work. The next cleaning company came in. All personnel had to undergo vetting for security. All cleaning was done during the day, preventing people from rifling desks. 40 hours was 40 hours. And cleaners were not authorized to engage soldiers beyond casual, "How are you?" conversations. My wife went back to healthcare. However, every once in a while she wonders what Stuart thinks of women's talk now. The lot of them are bloody fucking lucky they didn't get hit with espionage charges. If they were photographing or copying documents. It is always a good idea to document everything. My husband has done that for years and it saved his ass multiple times. This sounds like some people secretly went to prison. There's this wonderful poster with a drawing of Wonder Woman in action and the message, "Fight like a girl." You should get and frame one for your wife. Because she rocks. You could also post this to r/pro revenge. Hope your wife's doing okay now! Exclamation mark. This is so wild.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.